Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Telescope Podcast. Thank you for listening.
What's up, everybody? Everyone in this place, if you could do a handstand, I want to see your feet up in the air right now. Wave them around, that's right. Woo!
Hello, welcome to the Telescope Podcast, the show where we look at culture through the spyglass of faith. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson. So great to have you listening. You know, I was talking to a couple college guys the other day after leading worship for a college event, and they were talking about their toughest class of the semester was like English. It was like a composition writing class, not so much like a grammar class, but anyway. So it took me back down memory lane after I had that conversation. I was thinking about my days in college, and I did a lot of writing. I was a history major, philosophy minor, so as you can imagine, it's just papers. But one of the hardest things about doing papers in that kind of class is always narrowing down your topic. You know, you get to write a paper like, say, a persuasive essay, and so you find something you're passionate about, like music. You know, I love music. So you're like, all right, I'm going to write a paper about music. But then it's like, well, what genre of music? Are you going to focus on an instrument? Are you going to focus on a composer? Are you going to focus on a popular artist? Are you going to focus on, there's just so many things you could focus on. Are you going to focus on theory? Are you going to focus on music business? Are you going to focus on music marketing? Are you going to focus on, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And so finding that, settling on that very narrow topic is hard, but it's also the most awesome thing. I know I went through that a little bit just as a musician. Not that I'm some big name, but I play around and write songs and stuff. And for so long, I tried to do the band thing. And I love doing the band thing. There's something so magical about when a group of people are on stage and you're just flowing together just effortlessly and making something happen, especially when there's an element of spontaneity, you know. It's so cool. But as I age, as I am upwardly mobile, as you might say, as I travel up the ladder of demographics, everyone in my circle of friends got old and got married and moved on to other things. And since I work in the church world, I had the luxury of doing music more than maybe the average person, and so the fire just keeps burning in me to do music, and it won't quit. But it's tough to do a band, and so eventually I just decided to do this acoustic thing, which is what I'm doing now, and it's been so liberating to settle on that and just have that focus. You know, I still get to play with the band at church because that's what church worship teams are. But anyway, I digress. So that brings me to kind of the point of this episode of the podcast. I have struggled to do this podcast lately, and the fire for the podcast has not gotten less. And if anything, it's gotten more as I've been so frustrated. And what I realized is that the Telescope Podcast, the podcast that looks at culture through the spyglass of faith, that focus is a current events, social commentary type focus. And what I realized is that in the midst of a busy life, I don't have the energy or the time to be an effective social commentator. I'm interested in it. I like to hear other people do it, but it's just not working for me. And so what I'm doing is I am shifting my focus as a podcaster. And I have begun a new show, which is not live yet, so you will not be able to find it in iTunes. I'll do another episode of this show to let you know when the first episode is actually live. And they warn us podcasters about setting dates about when our shows are going to be live, because people, actual humans at iTunes, have to approve it and send it through the pipeline, and it takes a while to get established. And then once it's established, then the episodes can just come out almost instantly, but I'm not there yet. Anyway, my new show is going to be called the Savior's Anthem Podcast. And here's the little tagline. Here's my focus. Your life is an anthem to God. We're here to inspire your song. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue yet. Maybe I'll tweak it a little, but that's where I'm headed. Your life is an anthem to God, and the show exists to inspire your song. So it's going to be basically what I've been doing on this show is what I'm going to do on that show, but I'm going to do it more on purpose. So I want to inspire faith. I want to defend the Christian worldview. And one of the main things I want to hear from people. I want to hear stories about what are you doing to affect this world for Jesus? What are you doing in your church, in your ministry? Maybe you're a pastor with an innovative thing you're doing. I want to hear about it. Maybe you're just an average person, but God has put something in your life that is interesting and you think would be inspiring to other Christians. So I just want to hear stories from people. If you maybe are hearing me talk right now and something in your mind is just sending out sparks and you would like to share something that you've got going on or that you've heard about, I would love it if you would email me at mysavioursanthem@gmail.com. mysavioursanthem@gmail.com. It's the same name as my website. My website is www.mysavioursanthem.com. So the email fits, the new show title fits better with everything I've got going. So I'm excited about it, and I hope you're excited too. This podcast has been a huge blessing. It's been cool to see people I don't know checking out the show, people downloading it every month. It's not a monstrous show, but people are checking it out. And who knows, maybe someday if life settles down or I get into a new season, maybe I'll pick this show up again. I'm definitely not going to delete it. I'm going to keep it up, but it'll just be on hiatus, and I'll be working on the new show. So email me. I would love to hear your story. Maybe you have an inspiring testimony, something God's done in your life personally. So whatever it is, I'm curious to hear about it. I don't really want to hear about your church's bake sale or event or guest speaker. I mean, that's cool, but I'm probably going to shoot to release an episode every month. Honestly, I would like to do an episode every week, but I will not promise that until I'm doing it consistently. Then maybe I'll start saying it. But one episode a month, I think, is an easy goal to just give you some inspiration. It'll be up on my website, and I will let you guys know through this show. If you've subscribed in iTunes, you'll get the next one, which will tell you, hey, go check out the new show, go subscribe. Also, if you are on Facebook, we used to have the Telescope podcast on Facebook. I've actually already changed that to the Savior's Anthem podcast. So yeah, you can go find that already. There's not much. There's just episodes of the Telescope so far. But anyway, until I have more news, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Matthew Seipel Anderson. www.mysavioursanthem is my website. MSA_music is my Twitter handle. I got to get a new Twitter handle. If anyone has a suggestion for a Twitter handle, go ahead and email me that. That would be awesome. And thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's up, everybody? Everyone in this place, if you could do a handstand, I want to see your feet up in the air right now.